This isn't your typical motorsports podcast. You're listening to Crush This, a monster truck podcast presented by High Octane Coffee and J Concepts. A show where we take you inside the minds of your favorite drivers, past and present, of the monster truck industry. And now, your hosts, Brad Shaw and Dan Chichagash. Buckle in. The show starts now.
What did you do, Dan? Dan is dying. Okay, what's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of Crush This, a Monster Truck Podcast. Normally, we do like a little, chat before we do the intro videos and stuff, but for some reason, that guy over there on the screen decided to set it that it went live to the intro video automatically. And he is I can't hear you, Cheech. You gotta turn your mic on.
I totally forgot. I totally forgot to tell you. And I was gonna jump on and say, "Hey, I put the intro video first before we start," and then I saw live, and I abandoned ship. Your face.
Oh my goodness! I wasn't expecting that. I've been gone 2 weeks because of my job, and all of a sudden,
they just shut you down.
my part of my friends, I just went, "Oh shit." Like, oh my goodness!
I was gonna try to tell you, like,
but seeing your reaction was the greatest part about it because you were dying.
Oh my god!
It ain't an episode of Crush This without some stupid BS happening. But what's going on, guys? It is Brad, aka the Monster Truck Canucker. That's Dan Agosh, Mr. Cheech himself, the Flying Panda, and welcome to a brand new episode, guys. This is gonna be a great one. We have Josh Ekkel, aka Farm from the Sinistar Motorsports team, Elliot Miller's team. Gonna have him on. By the way, Cheech, thank you for holding it down for the last 2 weeks while my job keeps me busy. Sometimes I work out of town, 2 hours, 3 hours away, and in a semi truck, giant 40-ton semi. It takes a while. So thank you, Cheech.
You're welcome.
And things are rolling for the 10th anniversary. I have been in contact with David Lee, the voice of our intro, and we have a new intro in the works. So I sent him off the script for that. And, we're just getting ready, doing some stuff with the logo, and it's going to be awesome. But before we get into our chat with Farmer there, Cheech, you guys had a big weekend out there in Roanoke, Virginia.
Actually, Hampton, Virginia.
Kurt Kramer getting a racing win.
Yeah, he got a dub on Sunday against Jamie Sullivan in Monster Mutt Dalmatian, which is pretty cool. We had a kind of a rough weekend with Raymunition. Kurt's truck took out 2 transmissions and an outer axle, and then Sunday he won. So that was pretty cool. And going back to Virginia, Hampton, Virginia, I was there when I was younger, and one of my first shows, probably the first show I ever went to as a monster truck fan. Not a fan, just a little kid. My dad took me there just to because I watched the TNT stuff, and I'm gonna be honest with you, like it's hard for me to remember who the trucks were. I remember Aces High as the Valvoline El Camino. But later on, Nick Davis showed me the video, and it was a Thunder National event, and I had Black Stallion, Rambo, Aces High, Overkill, 2 Overkills. I think that was 92, but that was the earliest I remember. So it was pretty cool going to see that stuff. Can't beat that. But it was a good weekend. And also the week beforehand, we had an awesome episode with Jason Rono and J Concepts. Go there on our iTunes and Spotify, or go back on Facebook to take a look at that. While you're at it, I'm going to do 2 things at once. My RC event at Lehigh Field in Monticello, Illinois, the 4th annual Hall Brothers Classic, is happening October 26th. Doors open at 7:30. Racing starts at 9:30. First truck entry is $10. The rest of them is $5. We're doing 2 rounds of racing, a figure eight and a SoCal, and then we're gonna do some freestyle. So come on over, do that stuff while you're doing your last second shopping. Hit up, like Brad showed, at crushthis at jconcepts.net for 15% off your items when you check out to bring it out to the event. So go there, do that. Hotels are there too. The Best Western is giving some deals, and then we're gonna have like again. I will get pizza. You can go camping in the area if you want to. I'm still looking for an indoor area, but I think we're just gonna do it outside and go from there. So, um, hopefully, weather cooperates with us and go from there too. So, it was a good time with them. Uh, you know, um, it was a fun time with Jason and all that stuff. So, like, go ahead and get yourself some Crush This merch. But while you're at it and you're feeling lucky and good, why don't you get some merch at the Cryptostar Spread Shop, our Crush This podcast store with t-shirts and stuff like that too, and go take a look at that and have some fun. I'm just trying to get some stuff closer. There we go. Sorry.
Like that snazzy hat, the retro CTP Crushes podcast hat that Cheech is rocking. You got the rubber side up shirt that I've shown off a couple times when I've gone on several adventures, and go check that out. And while you're at that,
Dustin will be there.
Dustin will be there.
Yeah, my event. So that's cool to see.
Go check out our buddy Steve Jones over at Monster Truck Attitude, Diecast Monster Truck Racing. Both me and Jeech are going to be in the upcoming event, and hopefully we have a round. Oh, he's bringing out the trophies. He's bringing out the trophies.
Hey, Brad.
I'm coming for you. I hope I get matched up with you this next event. I'm coming for you.
Here, I'll give you some. Oh, too far away. Oh, let me try there. Oh, too high up. Can't reach Canada. There.
Or as some of my friends on the T-Ray Discord think that Canada's not even real. So
it isn't. It's world. It's where the NATO and the rest of the world try to keep up with us. So,
but without further ado, let's get to our interview here. He is known as Farm. He is part of the Sinistar Motorsports team, Mr. Josh Ekkel. Josh, how's it going tonight, buddy?
Well, it's not going bad at all. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, it's a nice, October evening here in Alberta, Canada, and it's. I know it's where I know you're at Michigan, but I bet the mountains are cold there. Mountains are blue.
Oh, absolutely, every day. You've got to keep the fun going, but yeah, it's actually weather-wise getting a little chillier too. It's not quite ready for winter, but you can't stop it. So
yeah, the snow's about to fly soon. I can. It's at the end of the week. I guess we might be getting a little hit here, and I'm not ready for it.
no, you can keep it. I am fully aware. You can just have it. I don't want it.
What's Farmer's sign? Someone else asking a question. Sorry, I was reading on that. My mistake. But Josh, or do we want to call you Farmer? We'll call you Farmer. Yeah, that's what I've best known you as. So let's go back. When we have new people on our episode and stuff like that, we kind of do a timeline ordeal on how you got started. Were you ever a fan of monster trucks? And how did you work your way up to hanging out or meeting Elliot to start this cool relationship that you have, becoming, one of the I always say interesting portions of now in the monster truck world. Like back in the day when you saw Adam Anderson, Gravedigger Legend, that was Cole Vennard. Or when you saw Bradshaw drive Monster Energy, it's Cody Saucier. Well, a lot of people know when your trucks, Elliot's trucks are at a show, you're going to be in the premise. I know you do a lot more than just wrenching on them, but we're going too far ahead here. But start us off in the beginning here, and how do you get yourself into this wild mess of monster trucks?
So realistically, it ended up being complete dumb luck on my end. Elliot did the Berlin show, I think it was 2018, and that was actually my first throwdown show. And tried to work the show for him and got a hold of Kohler and tried to like crew just to get behind the scenes and see what it was like. And I grew up watching Monster Jam on speed and just that passion and love for it. And you always kind of have that urge to get deeper in it without knowing how to. And that Berlin show, I ended up meeting Hausman a little bit at Pit Party, added him on Facebook, was talking to him a little bit here and there, and I was like, hey, we're gonna go to Detroit. Are you gonna go? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, all right, well, let's meet up and see what happens at Pit Party. And talked to him for a while. And I was like, hey, you got that Ionia show. It's close. It's local. Like, if you need a little extra hand, like, I'm more than willing to help you. And he was like, all right, that sounds good. And it was me and another guy, which he was just completely like right away, like, oh, maybe I'll drive, and like the absolute worst that you could have for that. And we got through the weekend, and I figured it was just going to be a 1 weekend deal, and I was perfectly content with that. Behind the scenes, I think Toluchkas were there. I can't remember who else was there. Helped them do a rear end, and just we got to the end of the weekend. He's like, hey, man, if you want to do more, let me know. I'm down to have you. And I'm like, absolutely. So I finished out the 2019 season with him, solely him. And then that fall, late winter is when Elliot got the V Cradle. And I spent my New Year's Day just completely tearing it down to get through and redo everything, gonna make it a thing. Well, then COVID happened, and we ended up doing 2 shows that year, and I think it was Maple Park, Illinois, and then Dinwiddie, Virginia, which is where Elliot debuted Sinistar. And in Elliot fashion, laid it on the lid, And then I think it was 22 or 23, he was like, hey, man, like, I know Farman's kind of getting tough where you're at and where you are with where you are. He's like, are you interested in doing this full time? I'd like to bring you on, which was not expected by any means. And so I was like, all right, let's run some numbers. Let's do the thing. And it worked out. And I've been with him since. And yeah, the V Cradle and then the old Christensen chassis. And here we are, just 3-4 years into it and trying to make everything happen.
Well, we've talked about this, throughout the last couple of years, but like Michigan, Indiana, Illinois, like that part of the United States is just a hotbed for monster trucks. Did you grow up watching, monster trucks on TV? Did you go to any shows when you were younger? Like, was this something that you kind of wanted to do, or is it, you kind of just in a way lucked into it when you met Jeremy Hausman and everything?
So, like, I had the Speed Channel schedule down. I would always try to get to my grandparents to watch it there. Like, I was fascinated with it. And then I got older and kind of fell out of it a little bit. And then that Berlin show came up, and I'm like, all right, this could be fun. You still have that itch for it of like, maybe this is a thing that will happen. And so we went to that show, and I didn't ever expect anything to come from it. But at the end of the day, it actually worked out. I mean, I remember going to Van Andel and watching Jocelyn go out with Little Miss Dangerous and just whip the nastiest donuts you've ever seen on concrete. I would beg, borrow, and just try to get my dad to take me when I was younger. And I didn't know it at the time, but Hausman's chassis was the truck that I saw at Van Andel numerous times doing the Thunder Nationals. So it's weird how it works out in that aspect of like working on something that you watched as a kid and you're like, do you want to do, but you also know that the chances of being where you aren't high, especially when you don't know where to get there. And so it was kind of a stroke of luck that it worked out the way it did. And I owe a lot to Hausman. I mean, that was what got me the start with Elliot and parents and just being in the industry itself.
Wait, it's not. Anyway, I guess a lot of people are trying to ask about milk, but we'll ask that later on. Uh, so you get with Elliot, you know, and just recently you guys just got the old Christensen chassis, but you started working with the Sinistar slash Frontier, um, and then a lot of times when the trust comes in the factor and you're doing a good job, you get rewarded. And sooner or later, Elliot trusts you uh, to get behind the wheel of a monster truck. Something that you just said that you never thought that would be a situation. You just were lucky enough to get in the situation, and now you're getting into you know, a seat into a truck that you know is like a drag racing Pro 4 trophy truck, pretty much. Uh, and you're having a 1,500 horsepower truck on your keister. But how did that arrange happen? And oh man, how were you feeling that day?
So it actually ended up, it was the end of 2020. We had Jason Yonkers salvage yard at the time that we got the Sinistar chassis, and then Hosman and Short Iron had his truck, and it was literally like, hey, you're gonna make some hits, be ready for it. Kind of a last minute, kind of a little bit of a heads up. So I had Hosman's old fire suit, his neck restraint, my helmet, my motocross helmet that I drilled the D-ring clips into for the Simpson side, and like it was nerve wracking. Like you know how much money is sitting there and like how much responsibility you have not to do something stupid.
What were you giving hints, or was Elliot talking about you want to drive in this thing or stuff like that? How did the conversation did before that day actually happen?
There wasn't actually much of a hint to my side from Elliot about doing it. Hosman kind of like cued me in, like, hey, there's a good chance that this might be a thing, so get these D rings for your helmet. We'll make it work with my stuff and like just make some hits and do good things. And it was completely unexpected and anticipated. I was just like here for the ride, and he's like, hey, get in this thing, like make some hits, see what you can do. And here we are.
And that must have been just a riot, like we've talked to so many people, that there was how their first time was driving. And what was it like for you the first time? Was it kind of one of those realities where like, man, I got a lot of air, dude, you got like a foot? Like, was it something like that, or how was that experience for you hitting a set of cars or a jump for the first time?
It was the severe nerves and like not wanting to break the truck, not wanting to do that, but also the absolute adrenaline rush after those first couple of hits of like realistically for me, my mind went blank. Like I couldn't think. I was just like, I don't know what's happening right now. This is never imagining this being a thing. It came to happening and you're just like, I don't know how to process this. So it was a lot of emotion from stress, nerves, excitement, adrenaline. It was a whole bundle of everything, realistically.
And then how long of a gap between that first test hits to okay, you're gonna do your first show?
I want to say it was like 10 months or something like that. I did a Michigan Dave Royf show up in Sheboygan, and I had uh, the driver of Sinistar at the time, Emily, and then Todd Matuk with me. We went up to Sheboygan and we did the show, and it was Eddie Como with Anger Management, Pat with Psychopath, and then Jack Caberna with Tough Enough. So it was like there's heavy hitters here. You get nervous, and we did all right. I think I ended up winning racing, but straight line, two car, another two car, and then finish line. So, but it's been in and out for the driving side, kind of like I get chances here and there, which every time you sit in the seat, it's a learning curve. You try to feel everything out and just put on a good show for everybody.
Shout out to my fellow Canadian Pat Paquette. Love that dude a lot. such a good dude. And I also want to say this about Elliot. You know, like he did. You know, the only arena that Elliot ever has done in Throwdown is where I live in Grand Prix, Alberta, and he gave me the chance to stage trucks, like doing like starting like staging trucks and everything in my hometown. Unfortunately, the video that they put up was me of falling over the dashers, but you know, Elliot's such a good dude. Like, given like you can see even with Dustin getting being able to drive, and it's just awesome to see the success that Elliot has had. And that V cradle truck, man. When he first got that thing, those V cradles are just known for just badass slap wheelies and sky wheelies, man.
Yeah, and he's making that newer chassis do the same thing, and that's a great thing about Elliot is like he loves the sport, he's so passionate about it, but he also is willing to give somebody else a chance to experience it. Like it, from me to Dustin, Emily, Athena, he's had a couple of his buddies drive just to have that experience. That's where he finds the enjoyment. Like he loves having the trucks to do his stuff and be able to drive, but he really seems like he gets the enjoyment from letting other people experience the same thing, which is phenomenal and great. I mean, he's a good dude for that. That's hard to get a hold of.
And also another I thought was a pretty cool. I got to meet you, hang out with you a lot more was when we did the Detroit Auto Show in 2022. Something that was new, something that was out of this spectrum for the people in the auto show industry. You helped put together the cool wrap that Elliot was running with that show. It's a Chevy Silverado with this chameleon chrome type green, blue, a little bit purple ish going on there. In those atmospheres that we get to experience that we sometimes have to pinch ourselves for. I, yep, neon, whatever, and the experience of that, and I saw you're running around like a chicken's head cut off because, outside of just taking care of the trucks, I mean, you're doing stuff for Elliot because he's having other shows going on those 10 days. So in those 10 days, you have one weekend, then the end of the weekend is the end of those days of the exhibition, you may say. We also had outside Sinistar. We had me and Raminator and the electric Bigfoot truck there too. But we had a bunch of trucks on display from Shatter, the picture truck that we had from Hall Brothers, Bigfoot 5. I think we had Bigfoot 1, didn't we?
I believe so.
I think we had one also there. But talk about that experience and just showing the Michigan fans, local team is pretty much hosting this whole event.
See, for us, like that was phenomenal because I got to spend a lot of time with you. That whole what was it, like 10 days we were in Detroit, something like that. And that's Elliot, both weekends we were there, he had two different shows going on. So he's trying to manage what's happening there and then manage the shows and like everybody coming together the way they did for everything to happen there and to be able to have that literally downtown Detroit with Zoomies. It's phenomenal. I mean, the excitement that people had that have gone to Monster Jam in Detroit but haven't been able to get like that close to the trucks or experience that level of interaction with it was amazing. And that was I think the first and only time that we've done something like that. So it was a whole new experience for everybody. Like, it was super stressful and nerve wracking, but the way everything turned out was just phenomenal. I mean, it's hard to beat the echo of Zoomies in downtown Detroit alongside the river doing something that realistically nobody's done before. And having the group of people that we had, with you and the Hall brothers, Cheech, and just, the display trucks, everything, and how it came together with the minor hiccups that we had, just everything went perfect, and it's a whole experience that sadly there's not a lot of people get to enjoy, because that week was a good time. I mean, we went to dinner a couple times and just hung out, and like everybody got to know each other. We got the fan interaction, and we did something that hasn't been done before there.
Well, and I also think that also is attributed to the team that Elliott's built around him. You know, I've gotten to do some shows with Matt Looker. Matt is such an awesome dude. Anytime I've worked a show in Edmonton or here in Grand Prairie, Matt's always been such a good dude. Travis Sawillo, you know, me and Cheech go way back with that dude, back in the MTM2 video game days. And you mentioned Todd. It's so many people that Elliott's put together around him, you yourself included. And it is like the one event that I always see just the craziness, and if people are around the Michigan area, is the Soaring Eagle Casino Show. The Monster Truck Madness event you guys put on there. Talk about going to that event and like the craziness that happens, because it's probably, besides World Finals, one of the biggest shows of the year. I'd say it's one of the. I've always said, there's certain events in the monster truck industry that are like almost like the Daytona 500 and others. World Finals is one. The show that Elliott puts on at Soaring Eagle is one of them. So many others. Talk about that show.
So for me, that show has been a bucket list thing. It was always a bucket list thing. And I was going to go the last year they had it before the break and couldn't make it happen. So to be able to come back crewing for that show the first time back was phenomenal. I mean, that atmosphere is crazy. Everybody is willing to just wreck everything. The track is technical, but massive. And Elliott always brings in a good group of trucks to put an exclamation point on it every year, year after year. And, it's great having Soaring Eagle back us with that and put on that show, and being able to have guys like Jerry Beck's team come in, DCT, and Tim Jones. You get a couple of Mike Christensen trucks in there, and Lobster Greg just come in, and everybody is willing to 110% lay everything on the line for massive race lanes, massive obstacles, and just absolutely destroy everything at the end of the night to maintain that level that show has brought. I mean, and that's the best part of it is everybody, I think it was 23 when the footage came out after we got done with that show, and everybody's like, that was better than World Finals. Like, I should have went to Soaring Eagle versus Tennessee. Like, we should have done this. And it says a lot about what Elliott has built up and what Soaring Eagle has put into it, and the people that Elliott does have around him to make everything come together, because that is honestly a bucket list for any monster truck fan to do, to go see, to witness, because it is just, everybody lays it all out, and it's crazy, and there's carnage, and there's thrash and everything between. Personally, it gets a little stressful because trying to keep everything going through that. I mean, massive race lane, gap jumps, but at the end of it, you're just sitting there like, all right, that was awesome, and I got to be a part of it.
And the cool thing about that show is it's always a highlight reel. So many awesome memories. The Barbarian and Crustacean and then Exterminator, and knowing all the drivers that have been there. The debut of Dozer, the debut of Dirt Crew, the debut of Jamie Gardner's now Empire of Overboard. Not the Willies, but the standardized, Eddie Micah chassis monster trucks that you see now. That's
and
the
Corey
whole
Rummel's Rage too.
Corey Rumble's Rage. Yep. There's so many identities that came over. Outside of that, I only could think of Monsters of the Beach is another one that you see trucks debuting. Blockhead debuted there and stuff, but you don't get that magic that a lot of people get. you even go clear back in time when Andy Hoffman had the second chassis and he had Jocelyn drive Lady Luck. That truck debuted at Soaring Eagle, and then yes, Kyle, that's what I just said. Blockhead was debuted at the beach show, Monsters on the Beach, or the beach show. I get confused. It's not the Wildwoods, the Virginia Beach show.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about, Kyle. And which, speaking of which, off topic, he was talking about that. He is currently the owner of that chassis that debuted at that event. He is the new owner of him and his family, friends, all his peeps have that quad chaos chassis / bad habit / Carolina Crusher / I don't know what other history it is, but congratulations, Kyle. You've been doing a lot of stuff lately, and finally got your own mix, and hopefully see you around in the next couple of years here and see that truck and go from there. But enough love for him. Anyway, let's see.
Kyle's commenting a bunch of times. He wants you to do a backflip.
That is not up to me. That is up to the owner in charge.
Brian Anger says, aside from Dustin and me, who's your favorite monster truck driver?
Ooh, I honestly would have to say Zim Senior or Junior. Either one of the Zims. We ran with them a lot first quarter last year, and just watching how technical Little Zim is, it's mind blowing. Like, it just ease, just like, holy crap, dude! How did you get that?
He's done. Grabs the phone. Yeah, whatever.
And he's like, yeah, okay. I'm like, dude, that was freaking awesome. He's like, yeah, whatever. I could have done better. I'm like, what was it? Like, that was sweet. And just, especially Big Zim with like the knowledge he has and how much of an asset he's been to us as a team and to me personally. First quarter, I had a couple weeks there where I was driving. I went to him for pointers. I'm like, hey, man, like, I'm not doing good. Like, what can I do? And he easily walk you through it. Little's in the same way. I struggled with stoppies for a minute, and he's like, oh, no, just do this, this, and this. And it's like so easy for them. Like, they don't think about it. They just roll with it. And it's like, oh, can I have like the talent you have in your pinky right now? Because I'm struggling.
Well, even when Little Zimmer was playing rigs or rods, like, I know like rigs isn't, it's realistic as they can get it, but like even he was just stupid good at that. Like, and transitioning over to when he started driving, it's just like, dude, are you kidding me right now? Like, it's ridiculous. Like, just this generation of drivers.
Well, don't forget CP3.
CP3, yeah, I can't wait to see him more in a truck more than, because he did some stuff with Tom Filler, but like even Weston Anderson, I got to see him drive in Edmonton, and I'm just like, are you kidding me? Like, seeing this stuff in up close in person, you're just like, how can these trucks do this stuff? Because like growing up, it was just straight line drag racing, no freestyle, and now it's just like, are you like, what is this?
I mean, in like the transfer jumps Little Zim's done, or like the butt kicker, and not just him, but I think Tyler's doing the butt kicker too, because I think it's them two that are pretty much only doing it. But like, just seeing how far it's come from 2008, 2009 to where it is now, where, I mean, in 08, everybody was like, oh, nobody's going to ever do a backflip. And then all of a sudden, it's a regular occurrence. It's like, okay, crap. And it's awesome to see on how like Little Zim and everybody else, like at Jam or Independent, like pushes each other to keep escalating and doing better. And okay, well, I just did this. How do I do it better? Or how do I do it different, more unique? And like, it's amazing to be a part of witnessing some of the stuff that happens. You're just like, man, I'm 20 years ago, never would have figured that would have been a thing, but here we are, right? And it's great.
In 1998, they started. I mean, freestyle has been around, but freestyle kind of became a major competition in 2000. And people thought sky wheelies and slap wheelies and all this stuff was all crazy, and then just kept on pushing the envelope. And today is just, we don't know. It's just crazy what we see and what they can pull off. But you gotta thank sometimes video games for doing that with the realistic fashions and stuff like that. But a lot of people, always talk about first quarter around the winter time, Monster Jam and stuff like that. But you guys and your guys' team took a different route. Same thing with the Robins. They did a couple of the years, and then like the Chaluchkas and JR is the All-Star Monster Truck Tour that you guys kind of they kind of blossomed and became full-time season during COVID and after COVID. You get a chance to get kind of the first quarter schedule taste and stuff like that before you guys transition to throwdown season and stuff like that. So, with All-Star, how's that opportunity? I mean, you do a lot of guys, you do most of your shows in Florida, then Georgia, Tennessee. I know they do. Did you guys do the one in Salt Lake City?
No, we did not. That's
okay. I know
that's a long hike.
Yeah, I know they did that. They host that one too, and then all those shows. So, how is that experience like with the All-Star group?
So the All-Star group is awesome. Like we will do some summer stuff when he's up around Michigan or Indiana. That whole crew, Wagons does a phenomenal job of putting on a show, and all his guys, like we get along. It's basically like a family, and that's like last year having our two trucks and Zimmer's, because in 23 it was just the one truck, and it was two Robins. Corey was in there with Toxic, and you had Joey before he sold the truck in there as well. But it's good because it's almost like a grassroots. Like it's simple, but yet entertaining. I mean, that whole group busts butt. I mean, everybody works together. There's not anything that's like, oh, well, that's your problem. Like everybody will come together. If it's ride truck, a race truck, dirt moving, like it'll just be everybody comes together and works. And Wagon's got a great staff with him, and everybody that we bring are in with them that he brings in for trucks, just everybody meshes, and it's a fun time. It's less stress, and just we love it. I mean, I can't thank Wagons enough for letting us do it, and he's giving me opportunities to drive during first quarter, and just every one of them's great, and I can't thank him enough personally for the opportunities he's given me. But as a whole, that whole All-Star Tour first quarter is just a good time if we can get it to not rain every weekend.
It's kind of funny mentioning, Wagons. I saw, I was on YouTube a couple days ago, just searching up like Chris Orell stuff. I didn't even know he worked for Chris Orell at one point. There's a video of him in my wife's hometown in Moncton, New Brunswick, talking with Doug Denance. And it's like, wait a second, I know who that other guy is. And, the one show that I always think that All-Star does badass is the Naples, Florida show. Growing up watching TNN, watching the, mud buggy races, the Sippy Hole, and, seeing them do that venue and jumping over the water is just badass. I think in All-Star, just it's a throwback to how monster trucks were when, we all were growing up, just a badass show, no fanciness, no showboats, just badass pure monster trucks.
Yeah. And that's what it is. I mean, it's not super technical or difficult or anything like that, but it is straight pride and joy. He's not afraid of straight line racing or just doing obstacle course, or like you said, Naples, which in itself can be a challenge. But just the layout of everything and how he runs it, and it's that weird kind of throwback, but also modern with everything, and it just gets everybody involved and excited.
I'm with you there on that one, Brandon. Brandon Kowalchuk says, when are we going to see Farm driving on the Edmonton truck? I agree with that one.
When's he going to let me drive his truck?
Yeah, dude, I'd love to see you in crude.
And it becomes emotional damage.
Dude, I'd love to see you in crude behavior. That'd be a riot. That short wheelbase thing.
Oh, I'd have fun with it. I mean, and that's the cool thing about them crude guys is they'll go out, race the ever-loving crap out of it, wreck it, and it'll still be ready for the next show. Like they just bust their butts.
I got a story about the Crew Boys. You just brought them up. So I did a show in Bonnyville, Alberta, about I'd say 8 to 10 hours away from where I live. It's just like a simple like 4-truck show, and I was staging trucks up, and it was Jared versus Jason. And I knew as soon as I pointed to where Brandon was waving the flag, I knew shit was going to go down. I turn around and I see Jason sky his truck super high, nosedive, completely blow out the front end. And I was sleeping in my car at the show by where the track was, and I just hear them grinding and welding at the truck all night. Sure as shit, the next morning, truck was ready to go, and I'm like, you guys are just. They're a bunch of oil field boys, and
Yep.
you know that's the industry I work in. I know the mentality behind it, and you know if those dudes go to do some shows in the States, I swear to God they will get so many fans because those boys just know how to crash hard, but they'll put that shit back together and have a couple cold ones in the process.
Yeah. And you're exactly right with that. Like they can go out and destroy their stuff and it's still ready for the next morning. Like if they get an hour of sleep, if they don't sleep at all, like they will make sure that they go out, they're having fun, they're putting on a dang good show. They don't care if they wreck it because they know that they can have it ready to go for the next round. It's just like, man, some of the stuff them boys do, it's like, ooh, that looks like a good time.
You know, and you talk about like key shows like All Star with Naples, and then you know, the show in you know, Michigan. But another one I thought that has always been a key point is Ionia. And you know, I think you didn't you drive at one of those Ionia shows?
I did. I ended up doing just an exhibition freestyle run because it rained like an inch and a half before pit party, and they still wanted to show. So we split the field in half, and he was like, "Hey, our truck's not running tonight. Like, switch the body back to Sinistar because I think it was the Babe body because I think Emily was gonna drive the first night, and then Elliot was gonna drive the second night." So I just started swapping the body over, and I was like, "Why are you up my butt, Elliot, about getting this thing swapped?" And we got it switched over. I'm like, "I had all night, but whatever, we'll get it done." And he's like, "All right, go get your stuff on. Like, you're driving now." And I'm like, "Okay." Like, it was fully an exhibition, unexpected. And I'm like, muddy. Oh, so muddy. I've never nosed so hard off a bus in my life, and that did not feel the greatest. It's like, nope, nope, nope. Oh well.
Oh, you know, and also keeping on people talking about how you debuted the All American and how you drove the world's fastest monster truck.
Yes. And that was huge for me, and I can't thank Zimmer and everybody at Sending enough for actually, and Wagons for trusting me enough to actually debut that and run it for them. I mean, that was a whole experience in itself, just trying to find a new truck and chassis and make it work and not let everybody down. But yeah, I can't thank them enough for that opportunity. I mean, it was a good time, and that's the benefit of Wagons and running with Zimmers too. I mean, they're just everybody is laid back, but dang good people that you just can't beat. I mean, they will work with you and do everything and give you the opportunities to succeed.
Okay, one question I have is about Elliot. Okay, and we all know what his favorite monster truck of all time is.
Oh.
Why is it Rap Attack? Okay, I've never seen the truck in person before. I've watched so many videos. The craziest video I've seen of that truck is Dave Rappich doing a car crush in just a little side street somewhere, like with people all around. Like, what is it about that truck that he just goes? Because there's that one, I forget if it was Joyride or one video. He was driving in Ionia, and he's in the truck like fanboying super hard. He's like, Rap Attack. Like, what is it like? And why hasn't he purchased the damn thing yet?
The only explanation I have for that is because it's freaking Rap Attack. Just the way that truck, I mean, that's literally it. It's Rap Attack. It's the way it is and what it does and the way Dave makes that thing go, what he can do with it. I mean, you look at the overbite of the body, you're like, that looks terrible. And then he goes out and just sky wheelies and rolls it. Like, it's just, I think it's mainly the fact of it's the definition of Elliott and just absolute carnage, having fun
Wow.
with it. Like, that truck is just wild in your face, and Dave drives the living crap out of it. I think that has a lot to do with it.
He should have booked Dave at Detroit.
Ooh.
See, right
That
here,
would've
this is
been-
what I was talking about.
This was actually in
Pennsylvania.
Ford City, Pennsylvania, I believe.
But like, just the poor people's ears. Like, my God.
Yep.
Thing's
Well,
loud. I think it is the loudest monster truck in the world.
The loudest truck I was ever around was Digger 12 when Tony Farrell had the Digger Legend body on it. That thing was loud in a small arena.
It's not even close. This is by far the loudest truck in the world. It makes noise definitely. I remember at Wheeling, West Virginia, they had to cancel the show, not cancel it, but hold the show. The task Dave, hey, can you figure this out? And it's like, nah. And he still ran the show with him, running that truck as is. Another truck that's loud is Virginia Giant, but nothing can beat the Rap Attack.
No. Well, and so we did Mansfield was a throwdown show, and I believe it was 23. And Dave's guy, I can't remember his name right off the bat. He showed up with a truck, open trailer, and he goes up to Elliot and he's like, "So we put lockers in it." And Elliot's like, "What?" We're like, "We put lockers in it." And it literally looked like somebody kicked his puppy when he actually realized there was lockers in Rap Attack. He's like, "You guys just what? He just ruined Rap Attack for me." And it's just something about Rap Attack and Elliot it's hard to explain besides the fact of it's just motherfucking Rap Attack.
I swear to God, one day that man's going to own that truck and he's just going to display it. He's going to build a house and just in the living room, it's just going to sit Rap Attack. And he's going to build it. It's going to be a shrine.
He's already said something. He's like, if I could buy that truck, I would buy that truck and literally just stick it in my front yard and leave it there forever. He's like, I don't have to run it. I don't have to drive it. I just want it in my yard, in my possession.
Nathan, I'm going to give Elliot all the ideas, okay? Because it's just, as Jeremy Hosman said, MFRA.
Yep.
Mother effing Rap Attack.
You don't have to give him ideas. He's already got that idea. Don't worry. That's Elliot's bucket list is to have Rap Attack.
But you know what? Dave's okay with that, just doing Elliot shows, because I mean, it still makes the truck relevant, and how the social media. That's another thing I want to talk about is the production that Elliot and your group have. Is the social media is by far better or just up to date with Monster Jam in the way you get likes, people follow you, the stuff, the DVDs. One time I think from like 2014 to 2000, before the pandemic, people talked about Monster Jam during the winter time and then Throwdown in the summer, and with the help of, Greg and Crustacean, but you started to get a lot of people that you normally would see in Monster Jam became regulars in Throwdown, like Rap Attack, Crustacean, Samson, for a few years. These trucks that you normally see on the certain, big stadium events are now doing big shows like in the Michigan, like you guys talked about, the casino place, Berlin, Michigan, Maple Park, Illinois, Juliet. We forget about Juliet. Even the Juliet, Illinois isn't technically a throwdown show. It is a throwdown show. So you have all these awesome programs, but you guys push it a lot with the videos, Dustin Hart. Oh man, there's a lot of MTM. Kyle Carr.
Danny Mass,
Brett Moyce. You have all these people that do help out, with the social media aspect of it, that brings everything to the feel of, for me, Throwdown reminds me a lot of Monster Jam from 05 to 2013. That kind of segment of Monster Jam is kind of my favorite portion of it, and Throwdown brings a lot of that to, today's society. So, talk about a little bit about Throwdown, and how you guys, push the envelope with the social media.
Well, so realistically, the way technology has been, like, you kind of have to always keep that presence. I mean, you look at what the stuff Monster Jam puts out and like the stuff we put out. It's you have to do that. You can't neglect any of that. Like, you have to keep up with it, and just because everybody kind of wants to see like the behind the scenes or just the show action, like that's what gets the interactions on Facebook, Instagram, all of it. That's what kind of keeps your name out there. And yeah, there's a lot of people that actually want Elliot to do his own first quarter. That's not going to be a thing that happens, but like Throwdown has that set of a brand from the beginning of realistically in your face, like hardcore nose to nose, the Soaring Eagle shows, the Joliettes, like where everybody just goes all out, and you kind of have to keep that going. And that's something that we keep trying to do. I mean, even if it's just doing stuff at the shop, like running valves or rear end change or axle change or washing, like we try to keep up on that just to keep the Throwdown name out there, the Sinistar name out there, and just keep everything rolling, because the way of technology and how everybody's social media driven, you have to. I mean, if you don't do those posts and you don't do the videos and you don't change things up a little bit here and there, like you're not going to keep going forward with it.
And I think one of the coolest things Elliot was doing, and I hope he does it again, was the movies. Like Joyride. Yep. I think Joyride was one of those ones that, having those little segments of Dirt Crew going around a quarry, or, Avenger in the junkyard, stuff like that. Because like, we're obviously, around the same age, I assume, but like we grew up in the era of Crusty Demons of Dirt and skate videos, snowmobiles, like sled necks and stuff like that. And I think
Butter videos.
Yeah. And I think Elliot, when he was doing a lot of those, like the Joyride, Throwdown for What, I think that brought that vibe back. And I'd love to see more of those kind of unique things that he was doing. Because, seeing, Lumberjack barreling through, a forest, that was badass. Dirt Crew, or not Quad Chaos around, the Badlands Park, like bring that shit back. I don't know. That's one thing that always, like, I've loved about Throwdown is Elliot's not afraid to try something different.
No, and I agree with you. Like, it's been what, 5 years, 6 years since he's done a DVD somewhere.
I think last
in there,
time was Power Trip,
which I think was like 18, 19. Don't quote me on that because I'm not sure, but it's been a while. But that would be, yeah, the things like that, because for the average viewer, like, sees a clip of it on the internet of Dirt Crew jumping the dump trucks, or Quad running around the Badlands, or Lumberjack hauling through the woods, like that piques the interest. So I don't know if he has plans. That's completely up to him for that. But I agree. It would be nice to see something like that again, because it's different and unique, and you don't get that from the Jam side or realistically any other promoters. So it just kind of gives that insight of what we do. I mean, Aaron, I think it was Joyride, where it had Kohler and Greg and their cornhole tournaments at the trailer. Just that side of what we do, to be like, it's not all just wrecking things and wrenching it. Like, we come together as a group, hang out. Like, this is a side of it that most people don't get to see, but it's brought to life with extreme action and chaos of what Throwdown brings.
And another thing is the relationship between, Elliot and Jim Kohler. He's been it from the start, before Throwdown, when it was Michigan Michigan Monster Group. Running that before, Elliot, took over with the Throwdown organization. It's cool to see Kohler, saw him in Maple Park this year, still do the Throwdown stuff. And running with you guys and stuff like that. I mean, how cool is it still having him with you?
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, how can you not be having a legend like Jim run with you and be able to interact and be around him? I mean, interacting with or seeing him on TV and just what he would do, and then now being able to sit there and be next to him, have a conversation with him, talk to him. I mean, I've been to a shop a couple times, and having Kohler and Greg and like all the OGs and even some of the starters that Elliott gave out, which like Jerry Beck and just new drivers that have had the opportunity with Throwdown, like having all of them still stay there and Kohler be there the whole time is phenomenal. And it says a lot about the product that Elliott has, that people are still there wanting to be a part of it.
Well, you look at
change up.
You look at a lot of the careers Elliott's launched, one of them being Zach Garner. Zach started doing shows, and now look, Zach is the reigning World Finals racing champion. It just shows that, Throwdown is the top independent monster truck promotion out there. And Elliott's always killed it, and seeing, the like Edmonton shows. Like I've been to the Edmonton show so many times and it's always sold out. And I've seen so many just like holy shit moments. That's where I saw Chris Kohler's Freestyle and Brutus in 2019, and that's when I knew that kid was going to be something. Like I still talk about that that was the best freestyle I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, and that's even like you look at Scoob in what was it, Soaring Eagle a couple years ago. I mean, he getting the chance to drive and fill in for Greg. Like just seeing what he's done and what he's brought to the table and the level that he has to bring, it's crazy seeing all the young talent come in like it is, but also amazing seeing Throwdown being like a main hub for all of that young talent to in a way get started if they're in the right team and everything that works with us, like it's crazy. Like you said, Zach, I mean, Little Zim too.
Yeah, and you guys had all three of those people race against each other at Maple Park, I think in 2020, 2021. That was a cool moment to see. And, let's talk about the relationship that you guys have with the Frontier Truck Parts. You guys have that group, different bodies and stuff like that. And we're going to transition also to the different identities. This year you also had Colossus and Little Miss Dangerous outside of, Sinistar and the Frontier truck and stuff like that. So how did that relationship go? And I guess it'd be a two-parter here. And, the identities, how did that all created too?
So for us with Frontier, because it used to be just Weller, and then they kind of divided up a little bit. So we deal with Frontier, Weller Auto, and then like Well Built. And that stems from Elliott being around Jeff and Josh Perrin. Weller in their days was a huge sponsor of Jeff and Josh, and Harry and everybody at Frontier wants to continue that. So we kind of got in with the trucks, and they're sponsoring bodies. I mean, they're sponsoring rear ends. I mean, they're taking care of the rig. If anything we need, like we just get all of them like, hey, we need this for the rig or we need this for the truck. And hands down, absolutely the best sponsors we could ask. And this partnership is just massive and been phenomenally great, I feel, for everybody around, because it would make our lives a lot harder to continue doing this without them and everything that they bring to the table for us. So it's basically a continuation from Jeff and Josh to Elliott, maintaining that relationship from years and years and years ago.
It just that is awesome to see, a sponsor sticking behind, and even like I still see, the Weller logo on Hosman's truck, when he did the mud bog, and that's badass to see that thing back out and, doing some mudding and stuff like that. And even just the identities you guys have had, obviously Sinistar, Colossus, bringing back Little Miss Dangerous. Like that is awesome to see Little Miss Dangerous come back. That name is such an iconic name in the sport. And, that it's awesome to see that, man.
And that's I mean, Elliott always is changing something up. I don't think the first, what was it, 23, we did our first quarter of the wagons and we just ran the Sinistar. And then it comes back the next year, it's Colossus. And then I don't know if he has anything different planned for this first quarter, but he likes to change everything up just to keep it different, just a new identity, something fresh, something different, which is cool because he's a mastermind. I think he stays up half the night most nights just trying to design a new body or come up with a new idea for something, and it blows my mind sometimes. It's like, what? Why are we changing again? But at the same time, it's cool because you're bringing something fresh and new into it, and then being in parent shop and having the ability to bring Little Miss Dangerous back is huge, and it's a lot of responsibility because like you don't want that to let down. Like it's got to look clean and fresh, and the way Jeff wants it to look, because the way their trucks looked all the time. I mean, I remember going to Van Allen watching Little Miss Dangerous for the Thunder Nationals, and it was always just the top end, and so it's kind of stressful trying to keep that up with making everything function and maintain the way that Jeff would want it to be. But having that privilege to have that name in the stable again is a huge honor, and realistically, can't thank Jeff enough for letting us do it. I mean, I don't think many people expected that name to ever make a return, and we keep trying to get Joss to jump back in the seat, but she doesn't really seem like she's interested in it anymore. So,
hey, you never know; it might happen.
We keep trying. She just doesn't want it. Like, just old time sake, one more time.
Sometimes it's hard to get back on the thing, the wheel of things, because sometimes it may get the bug and relapse, and stuff like that. But outside of throwdown stuff, is there any social media people can follow you at?
Just Josh Ekkel or JE Farms for the team. It's Sinistar Motorsports. I think there is individual truck pages too for like Little Miss Dangerous or Colossus. I'm not entirely certain on that. I'm terrible with the social media side of things. I spend too much time working. But
it's okay.
You know how that goes, Cheats, where you're like, I'm gonna do this, and you're like, oh no, I just got back from the shop. I'm like, I'm too tired for that. I can't do
Yeah,
that right
there's
now.
that exactly like that. I'm in the shop going, I gotta do this, do that, and then I see this bed, and I'm like, and it's like, game plan's over. I'll do it another time or whatever. But
you know what? It's all worth it for them dirty hands, clean money.
Absolutely, and for the fans, you gotta do it for the fans, because without them, where would any of us be? So,
yeah, because we all were fans and love what we do and stuff like that. But one more thing, Brad, I got another hidden gem here. If you notice, there was one sponsor video that was not played in the beginning. If you remember that group, yeah, when you end the stream, they play that video at the very end.
Okay, thank you for letting me know, so I'm not shocked at the beginning of the damn podcast again.
Yeah, sorry about that. But man, what are any shows that you guys are done for the throwdown year? So you guys are tearing up everything, getting ready for first quarter for All Star, right?
well, so we have Throwdown is done. We've closed that out at Berlin, but we have a Night of Destruction locally for us at a local track that we've done multiple times, Hartford Motor Speedway. And then I think we have like 2 weeks, and then we're gonna do the November wagon stuff, which is Lake City, Florida, Meet Louisiana, and then Fort Pierce, and then come back and actually thrash for first
hey,
quarter
look,
stuff.
you got a guest.
Oh, yeah.
Just screw off out of here, cat.
Get off the table. I was waiting for that to happen the whole time. I'm like, wait, where are you guys at?
But yeah, thank you for going on here. Anything else, Brad?
Any social media people can find you on, Cheech?
Nah, they can find me whenever.
Okay.
Like, I'm hungry and I want to go to bed.
Yeah, no. I mean, most of my social media stuff like that, Daniel Cheech Gosh, Facebook, the Monster Canucker on Instagram, the only Monster Truck Canucker on Instagram.
Damn right.
Bradley Shaw Designs. Let's see here. What else? Uh, I once was an Oilers fan, but now I'm a Calgary Flames fan.
Don't bring up the Oilers, please.
Let's see here.
My buddy Zach Steele. I don't know if you remember him from the MTM Garage days. Because he's a Florida fan. He keeps bringing that up to me every single time he hops in the T-Race server. And I'm just like, dude,
it's
shut
okay.
up.
It's okay. You have 4 more Stanley Cups than he has. So
I know.
He has a lot.
Still, we I hope we don't lose. I think either tonight or tomorrow night we play the Flyers. So
you have a long season. That's all I have to say. You know, and they can bring up that one Stanley Cup all they want. They're not the most championship team in Florida. That's across the
Dustin. Yeah, Dustin.
So I mean, you can like the Panthers all you want, but for the longest time they were in the bottom of the barrel there, bud. So you know, Florida's still Tampa Bay. But anyway, you know, sometimes a blind squirrel finds a nut.
Yep.
And but I'm a Penguin fan, so I'll stick to that. I know a lot of people over there in Michigan are Red Wing fans, and you know, Carolina Hurricanes have a Stanley Cup, so they have just as many Stanley Cups as the Florida Panthers. You know, and all that.
They get less cold weather, so I mean,
yeah.
But you know,
got a lot of hockey things going on here, except for Jeremy Hosman. He says Lions.
Yeah. And Marty says Lions. So
yeah,
all I'd have to say for football is go Edmonton Elks or Eskimos or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, I mean Lions. So I mean, it's like, oh, they throw football with skates. I'm confused on what sport you guys are talking about.
You know what? Las Vegas Outlaws XFL.
Yeah. Any Cowboy fans out there? How's the butt?
But you know, before we end it, guys, check up on your friends and family. Mental health is a very important thing. If you're struggling or going through anything, please reach out to somebody. You know, I've reached out to Dan many times, and I'm struggling, and many other friends. Thanks, Cheech. But guys, just, you know, if you're struggling, reach out. You know, there's a lot of resources out there for you to get help, and that, you know, that you're still going to be here. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Also, donate blood.
Donate blood, as Cheech said. And do we have anybody on for next week yet, Cheech, or is that?
I don't know. Are you gonna come here? Are you gonna come here after work, or what's going on here? So, I mean, it's up to you. Maybe you be the guest. I don't know. Maybe we're gonna have Brad Shaw on the next week. See if he shows up.
Live from the studio.
From the studio. I will fly there to his apartment. How crazy would it be if you're at work? I'm at your apartment doing the episode.
Dude, I would. You'd have to talk to my wife beforehand. And all that, dude, that'd be nuts. All of a sudden I show up. What the heck? Why is there Cheech sitting in my chair? Like, what the hell's going on now?
No, but I know on the 29th, we are going to have, on our episode, we are going to have Berto Trevino.
Oh, from Team Throttle.
Yes, Team Throttle Monster will be on the 29th of October. So I'll get someone on the 22nd. I got my dates confused a little bit, but that's okay. We'll get someone on the Owl next week. And, you know, same bat time, same bat channel.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you guys having me on, and thanks. Appreciate it a lot.
I'll see you down the road, Farmer.
Absolutely.
Well, go ahead, Brad.
All right, guys. As we've said for almost 10 years, keep the rubber side down and the shiny side up, everybody. Peace.